you are all talking about disasters. We all use the term risk, vulnerabilities, risk, hazard, vulnerabilities, and the consequence of that is the disaster. You would have seen the disaster. We are from the region. Bangalore is prone to disaster because we have been managed by a group of people who do not understand science, do not take the science into the decision making. That's why we are facing the problem. And it doesn't mean that Bangalore is in a worse situation. Since I have stayed in Bangalore for a longer time, I am giving an example of Bangalore. But all other cities are also similar because I work in other cities also. Now, I'll be talking on the how to mitigate, and then I'll take you to my case study region, the Western Ghats, and then some success stories I will give you how to minimize the disaster. Then, how as a researcher I have taken the science to the society, for the benefit of society. See, what I teach, what I do, science, if I see is successfully implemented and the people are happy, I always feel that I have done my job. And recently we published a book called National Capital Accounting and Valuation Ecosystem Services. That is for the first time for the state it has been done, valuation ecosystem services. Now we know what is the worth of forest ecosystem, what is the worth of the aquatic ecosystem, the wetlands, etc. And of course, I did the presentation of this book, also outcome of this work at United Nations representing the country. Now, those of you who want to know more details about what we do, this is the web page where you get all the details, the decision support system, what we have developed. And I work extensively in the spatial data. I use the remote sensing data. And probably I am the product of the successful implementation of the remote sensing in science. Okay. Now, when you look at an ecosystem, if you understand how the nature functions, then there is no disaster in the system. When we alter the integrity of the system, then only you see the disasters happening. Now, how the integrity is altered? It is by the people. Without having a holistic picture of the thing, implementing the so-called development of project is making the region vulnerable. For example, the linear project that is coming up in Western Ghats region, ecologically fragile region, vertical cuts. Today the vertical cut, an engineer has done the job and gone, PWD or whatever the agency. That tomorrow when the rains, you have the disaster and people crying for the loss of life and property. Now, my agenda of science is the sustainability. Ensuring the clean air, water and the air to the next generation. That if you want to do that, you need to manage the system. That is where responsible decision making is required. Of course, that is required a decentralized governance and a prudent management of resources. Now, I had worked on the disaster, the landslide. Couple of times I was the committee. So now, landslides are happening in Karnataka quite often. And recurring this one, every time landslide happens, expert committee is constituted and we are asked to do the study of that and give the recommendation. By the time when we give the report, the landslide would have got over and the heat of the landslide got over and people just forget it. And 3 times it happened in Karnataka like that, and all the 3 times I told the government, because you didn't implement the first committee report, we have the disaster again and again in the region. Now, if you look at the landslide, see it is just a debris movement or the rock this one, and it could be because of removal of the vegetation cover and the undulating terrain. And also there are various types of slope failures are there, like earth and debris flows, slumps, slides, soil and rock fall. Now, when you look at the landslide, it is the function of hydrology, geology, land use and land cover, slope morphometry, anthropogenic activities, and natural hazards. Now, when you look at this, most of this requires a spatial component. Okay, so that's where the relevance of today's training program comes to the. Okay, now let's look at the causal factor. You have the preparatory, the inherent properties of the system, and the second is the triggering factor. See, if the child is prone to the cold, okay, you should not expose the child to the cold. But triggering factor is exposing the child to the cold. When there is a cold air breeze outside, if you expose it. Similarly, if the region is vulnerable to the landslide, is undulating terrain, don't make it more vulnerable and expose it to the high intensity rainfall. Now, our problem is compounded by many fold because of changes in climate. Every alternate week we hear there is a depression, there is a cyclone, so and changes in climate is happening, temperature is increasing, and because of temperature increase, you have the disaster in the form of the health disaster, the vector-borne diseases increases. Okay, so now you summarize what I said so far. You can combine this. For me, the addressing disaster is very provided we implement whatever the mitigation measure is suggested by the experts. We have been talking about it for the last 5 decades, and things have not moved in our country to the extent we expect. So, and there are geological causes are there. The geologists have been talking about it, and morphological causes are there, and physical causes are there, and human causes are there. Now, these are all because of the inherent property. While this is the one which is quite worrying, which we can minimize it, so that for example, if you take the landslide, excavation, toe cutting, the slope cutting, land use change, water management, mining, quarrying, vibration, water leakage, deforestation, these are the causal factors. Now, I will illustrate that with one of the example of the landslide that happened in Karwar. That is the simple, the mudslide that happened, and because of that, the couple of families were washed out. The landslide happened at 19 locations. There are 21 deaths for this. And when we visited that, that is the hill which had a green cover earlier was removed. And part of the green cover was also converted into monoculture plantation. And the third thing that happened is there was a vertical cut at the toe that has induced the instability in the system. So that is what has happened, and this is the report we gave to the Chief Minister at the time. I was the member of the task force, but even today, 2009, even today it has not been implemented. But don't be disappointed. If it happens during our lifetime, I would say that is very great in a country like ours. So that is where the challenge for the scientists is to make these people also to understand the future, the implications of this kind of disasters. Okay. Now we mapped where all the landslide is happening. Look at the spatial component there. We got the latitude, longitude of that. And we looked at what is the causal factor at each location. We saw that it is either the barren hilltops, monoculture plantation, or the blockage of the drainage network, and rock mining of the hills. And these are some of the issues that were there. Okay. Now that is where the spatial data comes to the head. We have today the data which are acquired through the spaceborne sensors. Way back in 70s, the satellites were launched, and every 21 or 30 days interval you get the picture. And today you can download the data from the public domain, Landsat or RRSC. You can use the data. It was earlier when I started my career, I have to pay 15,000 or 60,000 per scene. But today you get the data. Only other thing is you should have the will to analyze and deliver the product. That is what is required. And essentially when we look at this spatial data, it is nothing like the collection of numbers. We just analyze those numbers, and that is where the science, the mathematics and the statistics comes to the result. Okay. Now these are along with the space data, we also use the collateral data like Survey of India, topographic map, and the field data that we collect from the field, like the using the GPS. And today we are lucky, even we have a Google Earth image, which have the the better spatial resolution data available, so that sometimes if you are unable to go to the field, you can still do the supervised classification for land use using this training data. And now we have moved one step ahead. We have Google Earth Engine. With AI and ML, you can do the job much faster. Okay, now what are we talking about? We are all thinking of only one Earth. How to make this system, the Earth, livable for all the biological organisms. I am not talking only about humans. Humans only cries. Other organisms don't cry. See, the diversity of the organisms on the Earth also induces the stability in the system. And if you look at our Earth, has about 8 to 12 million species on the Earth, as per the scripture. And if you look at in science, we have estimated about 1.3 billion species. Now, which part of the Earth has the highest number of the plants and animal types? When I talk about biodiversity, it's a diversity or a variety of plants and animals. Well, which part of the Earth has the variety of plant and animal? When you do this analysis, spatially along the latitudinal gradient, you will be surprised to see at 8 to 14 degree latitude, you have the highest number of plants and animals. Which is this 8 to 14 degree latitude? It corresponds to Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, part of Goa. That means some of us have inherited this kind of resources, and it is the responsibility of people to conserve that and give it to our children. And of course, we have the right to use. It is not that conservation doesn't mean that you are not supposed to use. Okay. Now, to give an idea about the diversity, look at this is in one taluk in Uttar Kannada district where I have been studying for a long time. I have 54 varieties of rice. Similarly, in one village in Uttar Kannada, I have 16 varieties of brinjal. When I look at that, one is good for fragrance, the other one is for the yield, and the other one is the pest resistant. If I just do the good science of hybridization, I have got a better product. That means more and more youngsters are required in the system to do this kind of science. See, we should never become a slaves. We should never think of getting genetically modified crop from abroad. We should make our youngsters to develop our own mechanism so that we are not the slaves in the system. When I talk about space technology, that's what I said. We have to be independent, then only we can see the progress in the system. Okay, now how we use this data and the AI and ML to do their thing. I said the Western Ghats is a vulnerable region, prone to disasters. So now, let us look at the land use change. How the land is being covered. When we do the study from 1985 to 2018, we see the reduction in the green cover, the forest cover. Not only the forest is getting degraded, we are also seeing the forests are getting fragmented. We have the metrics to compute the fragmentation of the forest. There are various metrics are available which we use to compute that. Now you see that forests are getting fragmented. We also, because we have done this data on temporal scale with reference to time of the last 4 decades, we could also predict what is the likely scenario. And we also quantified what is the carbon that is stored in the forest, in the above ground, below ground soil, and this gives the total carbon, and this gives the annual increment. And our study shows about 1.23 million gigagram of carbon is sequestered by the vegetation in this region. And every year 37,000 gigagram of carbon is getting sequestered. How this Western Ghats is helping in addressing the vulnerable situation. With the changes in climate, increase in the carbon concentration in the atmosphere is creating the changes in climate of the global warming. Now you have to mitigate that. How do you mitigate that? Through the vegetation. We see that every year 37,000 gigagram of carbon is being stored by the trees here. They are silently doing the job of addressing or minimizing the impending disaster of the changes in climate. And if I look at from the monetary angle, it amounts to the 100 billion rupees. Or $1.4 billion. You might ask, what is the use of this kind of number? See, when I represent a country in the international forums, I always argue with the other countries. We have only one Earth. And trees in our Himalayas and Western Ghats have been sequestering the carbon that has been emitted by the industrialized countries. It is the responsibility of those countries to pay us for the service what we have been providing of removing the carbon. Had we not done that, we would have had a great disaster on the earth. And changes in climate would have been much more serious. Okay. And what is the likely scenario? We also predicted that you see that there will be further degradation of forest and further fragmentation of forest. And more importantly, consequence of that is that you see the temperature change and rainfall pattern, climatic change is happening. You know the Kerala will become more warmer. You know, with the increase in temperature, you will have more and more vector-borne diseases. Having more and more vector-borne diseases is going to be a disaster. Just now, you see that chikungunya, dengue, they are struggling. And COVID, when did the COVID started in our country? It started in Kerala. I mean, we might say some fellow from Dubai landed here and he brought the virus. But we also gave a favorable environment to that fellow. Fellow means virus, okay? And rainfall pattern, if you look at Kerala, which is getting a higher amount of rainfall and longer duration, started getting a lower rainfall. And the intensity of rainfall, you know, rainfall spread across 4 to 6 months. But instead of that, you will get for a few weeks. That means a large quantum of water in a shorter duration. It is called a high intensity rainfall, and that induces the landslides and mudslides. When I wrote this article in 2018, I said that Kerala and Karnataka is going to pay the price. You know, 2019 landslides happened in Wayanad and Kodagu. And look at, immediately after the landslide, every journalist become very active. And they started looking at the search for the thing. And they found this paper. They started saying, sir, you had predicted, but why you didn't make the government to take it seriously? Then I asked, where is the government to convince them? So when I talk about conservation of the vulnerable region, they think about development. So that is where the problem is. Okay. Then I also thought that, okay, I should equip the youngsters of today with the adequate knowledge. Suppose if I am unable to do this job of conservation, at least my work should speak. Then we identified the ecologically sensitive region by integrating the biological, geological, the climatological and the ecological parameter. And we divided entire Western Ghat into 5 minutes by 5 minutes grid or 9 kilometer by 9 kilometer. In each grid, we found out what is the ecological, climatic and all those things we combined. And integrating that, we got to know which are ecologically sensitive. Now, red one are ESR1, the dark green are ESR2, light green is ESR3, and the blue is the 4. Now, at village level also we have done the analysis. And we also put it online. See, I launched this on last July. You know, in a remote area in Shimoga. And believe it or not, I didn't publicize it also. Within a month, I saw there was a query in the parliament asking for the details about this analysis. And it is available at this portal. If time permits, at the end I will demonstrate that, okay? So that you can visualize your district, your village and your taluk, and you can get the ecologically sensitive and why it is ecologically sensitive. And all the data what I have used for developing this is available online. You know, we have made this available to the public. And not only that, you know, after the question, a committee from the Minister of Environment and Forest, they landed in my lab asking for the details of this the decision support system. See, that is that is the wonderful thing that happens in any researcher's lifetime is that taking whatever the work you have done to the advocacy, you know, decision making. And I was quite happy. The committee listened to my this one, and two of the things I emphasized. If the politicians do not want the conservation, at least they should worry about the climate change and the carbon sequestration capability of the forest and the likely amount we are going to get in the form of the carbon credit, we should make sure that our country gets it. And when I told that, you know, till then, all the governments were saying that they are against Katuri Ranjan committee report and Madhav Gadgil committee report. the moment our minister in Karnataka came to know about the carbon sequestration, the service provided by the forest in the Western Ghat, he said we will accept Kasturi Rangan committee report. And I think you are all here, you know who is Kasturi Rangan, the well-known space scientist. Okay. So then let us also show you how at the macro scale. This is the region where the district. You see that how the local level analysis will make you to take the idea forward. Initially we started with a district which has a very agroclimatic zone, and this is a stream network. Look at the stream network and vegetation cover. Where vegetation cover is high, you will see higher dense the stream network. So that is what you can see. And the regions which are vulnerable are the regions where the vegetation cover has been removed. Now again, we did the standard protocol to correct the flora, fauna and other details. This is the vegetation map of the region, and these are the sampling site where we did the data collection. You know, when you talk about the disaster, you cannot do the analysis unless you have the field interaction. You need to go to the field, collect the data, and you can extrapolate that with the space technology. And this gives you the land use, the dynamics in the region from 1973 onwards. Now when you look at the statistic, you know the vegetation cover, which was about the evergreen, this one, which was about the 67%, today has come down to 29%. And this district is supposed to have the highest forest cover, has the distinction of having higher forest cover in the country. Even in the district of that, we see the degradation is happening. You know, 67% evergreen forest has come down to 29%. And recently you saw that a truck from the Kerala was held up in Shiro and the driver was missing. So in the landslide, okay? And you can see this, 1973, how the green cover, then 89, 99, 2010, 2013, and you can see how the changes are happening. You know, this is the visualization of the thing. When you present this, any decision maker will get the right picture of the thing. You know, you can prepare the statistics, what I said, 69% to 29%. Some people understood. But when I visualize this and show this change in the decade, this one, then the people are convinced, you know, how the changes have happened and what is the implication of that. You know, then I also looked at why these changes are happening. Look at the kind of encroachment that has happened in the region. Unauthorized occupation of the forest in the region. This is the region where the national park or sanctuary is there, where I do not see much encroachment there. And second thing is, there are so-called developmental projects. See, Western Ghat constitutes only 5% of India's geographical area. Out of 5%, we are identified only 40% as the ecologically sensitive. That means the 2% of the country's area only we are demanding for conservation. Why are we demanding? Because we have the region which is the rich in biodiversity, etc. Even that region, we do not want to conserve it. 95% I have kept the country for looting, but I don't want this 5% to be disturbed. That is the thing. And when I did the thing, you see all kinds of projects have come up there. You know, nuclear project, hydroelectric project, large scale industries, everything has come up. Now you might ask, what is the thing which has given you the job? Why are you worried? See, my problem is when I can visualize what is the likely change, you know, I should take that into the thing. For example, 1973, the land given to an industry is this much. But because of the industry coming up, the whole region is getting urbanized. You know, that is where the thing, you know, ecologically sensitive or a vulnerable region, if you alter the integrity, naturally the changes will happen. You know, similarly, this is another, this one you can see how the urbanization has happened. See, urbanization is okay in other places, but not in this region which is feeding the water to this one. You know, 100 plus river originate in Western Ghat, which give the water security to the Deccan Peninsula area. Because of the water security, we have the food security. And if we are making that region also vulnerable with this kind of the project, naturally we will pay the price. And we also try to map the landslide prone zone. See, that is where science comes to the picture. We collected the ground data, where all landslide happened. We used the various layers of the spatial data and integrated based on the modeling. We predicted which are the vulnerable regions. We have given to the government of Karnataka, which are the vulnerable regions. The same location, the landslides are happening again and again. You know, this is where the people who come from the government agencies, you need to assert when you are young, your spinal cords are strong. You should question the authorities and see that the implementation of the mitigating measure happens. Okay, we also did this mitigation landslide mapping for the entire Kerala. So now you can see that how the landslide happens and where it happens and this one. Okay, now Kodagu landslide. You look at these are the locations, 159 locations where the landslide has happened. When you just look at this, I just overlaid the occurrence on the stream network. You see that wherever the stream blockage has happened, it has aggravated the problem. Where the stream blockage has happened, some resort fellow has come and sitting on the stream. And he will make money for the decades of the thing, saying that he has given a favorable environment for ecotourism, etc. And then the linear projects, cutting the stream network and all this, okay? So now, these are the things. See, here, you look at that, you can see the blockage of the stream. People in the name of afforestation have planted the monoculture plantation blocking the stream. Maybe that year is a dry year, probably 2-3 years there was no rain, but people just blocked it, but nature knows its only way. When it rained, the whole thing got washed away. Okay, what is the mitigating measure? Again, science is not there. It is only ad hoc, putting one channel next to that. Look at the way, the unscientific way we are doing the job. Okay, now, other causal factor, you see that ecological fragility is, we are enhancing with the developmental project, and encroachments, that is the next this one, and you see that encroachment leads to the fragmentation of the forest, that is where the problem of the landslide happens, okay? And then we also modeled, and the outcome what we said is, see when the vegetation cover is there of native species, because of that trees, the roots, the binding effect of the root, there are minimal sliding of the land happen, much slide doesn't happen. When you remove that vegetation cover, even with a simple rain, you see the landslide happening. That is what we also illustrated with our case study in Kodagu also. Okay? Then that is where we integrated various variables to identify the ecologically sensitive region. Then we mapped it for the Kodagu. This is about 5 years back. We gave it to the government of Karnataka. Even last year, the landslide happened at the same location where the red is the red or the ecologically sensitive. Naturally, ecologically sensitive regions are also prone to the vulnerability if you alter the integrity. Okay? So now, look at the stream blockage that is triggering the landslide. So now you see that wherever the development has happened blocking a stream, you see the landslides have happened in the region, which brings in 1-to-1 correlation with the blockage of the stream with the landslides or the mudslides in the region. Okay? Now, this is the team that worked. And of course, we met all the DCs in the region thinking that those young Maharajas can do the implementation of the remedial measures. Okay, this is in Shimoga, and similar thing we did it in Shimoga, okay, and also in Chikmagalur. Okay, now this is the kind of the picture that we got, and you can see when most of you are sitting at home with the mask and covered yourself from the outside world, we were in the field investigating the landslide. But we didn't face the crisis. None of my team members got the COVID or anything. So that is the beauty of the people working with the Mother Nature. Okay? So now, the landslide, the history repeats in 2024 with little or no action. The same moment the rainfall pattern has become more aggressive now. So we have the issues associated with that. Okay? So now, I have another case study of Bangalore. So provided the organizers allow me to this one, now I am almost close to the half an hour because I started at 10:13. Now I will quickly run through this. Okay, the flooding in Bangalore is happening. Some of you have come from Hyderabad, some of you have come from Chennai. All the places where the Babus are doing a great service to the nation by having a developmental project, we are paying the price. The common man is paying the price. Okay? Now, if you look at the landscape of Bangalore, 740 square kilometers, is an undulating terrain. There are river network, stream network. Our earlier forefathers have put the bunch, and that's how they converted moving water bodies into the lakes or wetlands. Okay, we have 3 watersheds in the region. Okay, and my campus is located at the highest location. We are not only the number 1 in the country, we are also number 1 or the highest location. We are sitting in the Bangalore. So when you enter my campus, my main gate is at the highest location of 942 meter. Okay, now what are the causes? Unplanned urbanization. Again, this is where the remote sensing data help. 1973 to 2023 we have captured. 1973, 68% green cover in the city of Bangalore, and about the 8% is red, which are buildings, etc. Blue is water body. And 92 with industrialization changes happened. 99, 2000 with ITPT coming up, outskirts saw the changes. Then 2006 intensification, 2009 further intensification. Then you see that 21, 22. The city has witnessed a 1055% increase in concrete area, and we lost vegetation of 88% and 79% of the water body. And now this is how the rate has happened. 8% the buildings in the city of Bangalore of 740 square kilometers, we have took the city to the 86%. Okay, everywhere the building, we have blocked the drainage network, etc. We also looked at what is the side effect of that. Surrounding area, we visualize that. So this gives what is the likely impact on the surrounding area also. We are not only getting drowned, we are also making our neighborhood also to suffer with this kind of developmental system. I thought that we should have a development, the decision support system, so that people can have this. We made it available in the last January. On 22nd January we launched it. We put all this data available to the public. When Bangalore faced this acute water crisis, this is the picture you would have seen in the social media and other places. Generously people took my data and they just circulated, and there are a lot of experts also brought up in the city talking about urbanization in Bangalore, interpreting this image. Okay, now the trees of Bangalore, madam has worked on trees. If you look at the trees of Bangalore, again using the remote sensing data, we did a quantification of the trees. This is our campus. We did a detailed the field survey in the campus of 400 acres. Similar work we did it in a couple of wards. Then we extrapolated to the entire Bangalore with the training data for the entire Bangalore. Our city has 1.5 million trees for the 9.5 million. That means for every 7% one tree is there. See, we have made the situation disastrous with the oxygen deficiency. See, again there is a disaster there, because for every person, the 7 trees are required. When you breathe, you give out a carbon dioxide to an extent of 750, 540 to 980 grams per person per day. And 1 hectare of tree requires about 6 to 9 tons of carbon per year. By that ratio, for every person, 7 trees should have been there. But what we have is 7 person, 1 tree. That means we have oxygen deficiency. And because of transition from the porous landscape to flat surface, the groundwater recharge is happening. With that, we had a groundwater crisis, and last summer we paid a heavy price. And you see the number of water bodies we have lost from 1973 to 2023. You see that we had 756 water bodies in 1973, and today we have about 216 water bodies. That means 540 water bodies we have left. And this gives the details about and these are available online. 79% is the water bodies we have lost. And consequence of that, temperature is changing, which was 21 degrees in 19, became 24 degrees in 2000, or 28 degrees in 2010, and today 38 degrees. And if you look at wherever if you go from the center of the city direction, you see wherever vegetation or water body is there, temperature is 2 degrees lower. If you see that my campus, I have a good vegetation ground. Probably that is the reason we are doing good science, the beneficial to the society. And floods, you see the consequence of the abuse of wetland. We see the floods happening in the thing and water scarcity. And when I study, you see the blockage of the drainage network, and the water bodies are interconnected. Now you lost the interconnectivity. That's wherever interconnectivity is lost, we see the flooding happening there. Okay, and other this one, you see the contamination in the water body. You might be wondering why I have brought contamination into the thing. That is another disaster we have induced in the system here. With the contamination, the water bodies, you see that the prolific growth of the invasive species. And with the invasive species growing there, you see that algal population comes down and fish population comes down. That's where the people become vulnerable with the loss of their livelihood. Okay, and the lakes are frothing, and there is a fire in this one. And now, if you look at this, water is used for growing the vegetables in the surrounding area. I just looked at they did the elemental analysis of the vegetation, the vegetable that is grown in the area, along with the fish. I found heavy metal in all these the food items. The transition of heavy metal from industrial effluent into our food is creating the health havoc in the city. The city is number one as far as cancer is concerned. The kidney failure, which was 1 in 1 lakh about 12 years back, today it's 1 in 5,000. Don't you see the disaster here? Every family is facing, every alternate family is facing the disaster of the kidney failure. Of course, brain failure is there with a lot of people in Bangalore. Okay? So now we also developed the Bangalore Lake Information System. We made this data. I have a distinction of my student doing the study of all the 193 lakes in the city, wherein we looked at the physico-chemical and biological properties. And we have made the data available to the public. Not only that, we also put the encroachment details, who has encroached and how much has been encroached in each lake. So this is the kind of the data we have made it available for them. See, when the data reaches the destination of the decision making, then only the purpose of data compilation comes to the picture. That is what we need to keep in mind. I was quite happy when RRSC made the data available to the public. Because I started my career with the restricted environment of buying the data with the financial constraint, etc. Okay. Now the last part of my job, what is my science has given to the society? I gave wastewater treatment, then the water bodies in the city, the mini forest, and of course sensitizing the people. Now the wastewater treatment, for example, Jatpur Lake. In the Jatpur Lake, I introduced the concept of wetland and algal farm. The secondary treatment was removing only the chemical ion, but by this we have the nutrient removal. Now, before implementing this technology, in 2005, the lakes and surrounding wells had nitrate. Nitrate is a carcinogen which will introduce the cancer. Now, after implementing, since I was in the committee, I could introduce the technology because of the financial constraint. I didn't have money to have the tertiary treatment, but then I had my own indigenous way of treating the wastewater. And today there are 300 wells are there in the surrounding area. None of the wells have nitrate. I had the satisfaction of giving clean water to those 300 well users. See, that's how I have taken the size, the welfare of the society. And then we have created a water body in the campus. And the benefit of that groundwater table has improved. Not only that, this has become a lab for my student, even I have water in the campus. At one end I say Bangalore is dying, other end I am showing the rosy picture of Bangalore also. And wherever I meet people, I make them to create the water body. This is in Mudavitra, the Jain Swamiji, in his campus of 12 acres, a water body was created because Mudavitra faced a water crisis because of the drought. 3 consecutive years the water drought the situation. Then I was in Mangalore for some conference. This Swamiji spoke to me. I told him the only hope is that you rejuvenate the lake and create the water body. According to my suggestion, he rejuvenated 2 lakes because he did a 30 lakes in Mudavitra was also desilted. Last year, when there was the drought in Karnataka, this taluk didn't face the water crisis because of this kind of initiative by the enterprising youngsters. Because Swamiji is quite young. And when I saw the success, is because Alva's the CEO and the students are involved. The next medicine I gave was to the Alva CEO, wherein we created a water body which can store 25 lakh liters of water. So you can see within a year, greenery along with the prosperity there, with the enough water and smile in our faces. So that's how we can solve the problem of the region. Otherwise, there could have been a vulnerable situation without the water in the region, okay, the last year. And if you come to my campus, you will see this climber. I was fascinated by the architecture. I said, I should have it in Bangalore. This is from Western Ghat. I brought it to Bangalore, this spot, which had 14 seats. Out of 14, 7 seats I planted in 7 locations. Out of 7 locations, in only 1 location it has survived, that is next to the building where I worked for 2 decades. That means even the plants know who will take care. You might think the tree next door may not be watching you, but it is watching you. Okay, in front of the building, I created a mini forest in 2 hectares area, 49 native species, 500 saplings were planted way back in 90s when I was a student. Groundwater table at that time was 150 feet. Today, when you come there, you get a feel of the rainforest, and groundwater table is 10 feet. When we are talking about groundwater scarcity in the city, you know the solution, and I have a model to prove that what is the solution for this one. And not only that, I have the rich biodiversity of splendid lorries, etc., which gives the recreation to us. We don't go out for a movie, I think we are this, and when we move around, we get the movie of the biodiversity of the region. And that is what we communicate to the next generation. That's what the capacity building is happening here. What we learned from the field, what we learned over the last 3 decades in a half an hour, we are communicating to you so that you can take this idea forward. And I've been offering the course on environmental management for the professional working in industries and the institution, etc. I've conducted 22 sessions. That's what the capacity building we have been doing for the last 2 decades. And one of the events we conducted in the Lake Symposium, the uniqueness of this biannual conference, the 14th event, was the participation by the school and college students. You know, they do the simple experiment related to the ecosystem or the water quality monitoring, you know, the carbon sequestration, and the children go to the field, collect the data, and they come and do the presentation in the symposium. In an audience of about 800 to 1,000 people, about 20% are the school and college students. When they listen to the experts, the capacity building happens. And when they do the presentation on the concluding day, the confidence level goes up. And my students have become professors in IITs, etc. Okay? So now, those of you who want to know more about my talks, it's there in YouTube, and also my webpage gives you all my publication, which is you can download and you can use it. And these are the things, you know, recently, Aganashni Estuary got the designation of the Ramsar wetland because of our 2.5 decades research. Okay, that also we have put it online. And those of you who want more details, you can look at this webpage. If you have any inquiries, you can write to me. I do not use mobile. Okay, so that's where I have a lot of time to do the good science for the benefit of society. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, see, the agenda of my science is to sow the seeds of knowledge in this young brain and make them an asset to the country. You know, when they do good science, you see that there is a smile on everybody's face. Thank you very much. The conclusion is ecologically sensitive region, we need to conserve it without any mercy, without any excuse. See, I tell you, those are the native species forests. What happened and who are affected if you look at it, you know, the people, you know, the encroachers, the mafia, employed the people who are experts in cutting the trees. Those people came to this region, they cut the tree, and based on the hectare of clearing the forest, they got the compensation other thing. And those people settled down there. And those families are washed away when recent the landslide that happened. You know, that's how the nature gives back. You disrespect today, that tomorrow you or your children pay the price. Okay.
May I know your observations on water sustainability in Bangalore, sir?
Oh, okay.
It can be implementable.
My solution, I just skipped it because of the time constraint. So I had the slide to show how the sustenance. I have a 5R formula. Okay? See, if you look at the rainfall in the city, okay, of 740 square kilometer, we get an annual rainfall of 700 to 850 millimeter. If you harvest the rainwater, you have 15 TMC of water. How much water Bangalore requires? 18 TMC. That means 70% of the water required for Bangalore is available in the form of rainwater. Now the best option for Bangalore is rainwater harvesting. When you have roto harvesting, you have 4 to 5 months of additional water. Some of my the colleagues have implemented rainwater harvesting. They do not pay the money to the BWSSB. They do not even have the BWSSB connection. The next best option, which I am pushing the government of Karnataka, is to rejuvenate the lake and retain the rainwater in the lake so that the surrounding groundwater get recharged. You might ask, what is the proof? Will it recharge? You know, recently Sarki Lake was rejuvenated. I was in the committee of the Sarki Lake. Within a year of rejuvenation of Sarki Lake, the groundwater table went up by 300 feet. Last summer, when entire city faced water crisis with increasing temperature, Sarki Lake had enough water in the lake and surrounding area groundwater table was less than 500 feet, and because of high moisture content, you know, temperature in that region was 2 degrees lower than the city's temperature. That means we addressed both the water crisis and the temperature problem in the city by rejuvenating the lake and retaining the rainwater in the lake. Now if you are generating 18 TMC of wastewater, Through the nature-based solution, what I have done at Jakkur Lake, if I implement it at all lake, okay, I will have the 16 TMC of treated water. That means 15 TMC because of rainwater harvesting, 16 TMC because of the wastewater treatment. I have the 31 TMC of the water. 31 TMC as against your demand of 18 TMC. This is a long-term sustainable solution. That is where I have 5R formula. First R is the responsible citizen. When people are responsible, they will allow the rejuvenation of the lake so that I can retain the rainwater, and they will also allow me to treat the wastewater. Otherwise, every Bangalorean, when I write an article, asks me, why do you want us to drink the sewage? I always ask them, you just come with me from Mysore to Bangalore. You will see the Mysoreans feeding the sewage into the Kaveri river. Instead of that water you are drinking in Bangalore, instead of drinking the Mysorean sewage, why don't you treat your own sewage and have it? That's better. So, see, that's how we communicate with the wider section of society in a strong way. And finally, we have 31 TMC to meet the demand of the region. So, did you get the? Okay. This is what we need to see that the government does it. And fortunately, the government is. Recently, I had an opportunity to meet the Deputy Chief Minister and Chief Minister. Whenever I meet, I carry my reports. I gave the report to them. Deputy Chief Minister smiled at me and said, "Sir, we will try to implement." So I am hoping that. Try to implement. I am hoping that he will try to do that. Okay. But there is not much money in my proposal. That is also my worry. So when the money is small, none of these bureaucrats want to implement such projects. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
स्मरामि वसिष्ठ वामदेवादिवन्दित महागणपतिम् स्मरामि वसिष्ठ वामदेवादिवन्दित महागणपतिम् स्मरामि वसिष्ठ वामदेवादिवन्दित महागणपतिम् स्मरामि वसिष्ठ वामदेवादिवन्दित